Hi. Another day in my Bali yoga teacher training with Awakened Life School of Yoga. And the big topic of the day was the 8 limbs of yoga. And I just want to go through them really quick and then talk about some questions that were asked. So the number 1 of Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, and Patanjali is just the guy who wrote them down some time ago. But they've been practiced for a while. He just wrote them down. But number 1 is yamas, and there's 5 of them, and they're essentially the ethical guidelines of what not to do. Number 2 is the niyamas. There's 5 of those. They're observations that affect your inner body. They're essentially the things to do. Number 3 is asana, and that's what you see, the physical postures and poses that you see in a yoga class. It was described today as a seat or cushion. Number 4 is the pranayama, and the prana is vital life force, and yama is restraint, and it was described today as what restrains your pranayama, what restrains your life force. So not that you should restrain it, but that it figuring out what is restrained, and it often comes about in yoga classes or yoga world through breathing practices and control breathing, expanding the breath. Number 5, excuse my Sanskrit, not so good. It's pratyahara, essentially means withdraw the senses or to relax. Number 6 is dharana, and that means concentration. Number 7 is the dhyana, and that is meditation. And the 8th limb on the limbs of yoga is samadhi, which means bliss, joy, ecstasy, or pure consciousness. And so the question was asked today, how is this different than a religion? And what our instructor said is that the 8 limbs of yoga are about developing your spirit so that you reach that state of bliss, joy, ecstasy, and pure consciousness. It's not a religion, it's a state of being, and the limbs are like steps or techniques to get one to that bliss and joy. And it is described as a support to a religion. And I didn't first really get that, and then as I went up afterwards and talked with my instructor, and just now as I'm thinking about it, me in my own Christian walk, I've actually gone through these 8 things, 7 things to get to this step 8 of bliss and joy and ecstasy and pure consciousness. And I'm not saying I'm like the guru on it. I know there's areas in my life where I still get to work on, but I didn't have these Sanskrit names, and I didn't necessarily go about it in the same way. But yeah, I've totally reached the 8th limb of yoga, and it's just really cool to see that God is always hungering and always searching after us, and He will go about it in any way, and because we're His kids, and that's just who He is. He wants us to be found, and He wants us to find Him. So by no means in-depth look at the 8 limbs of yoga, but that's what we talked about today, and kind of where I am and my walk with that in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So until tomorrow, have a great day, night, whatever it is that you're watching this, and see you next time. Namaste.